Who are some of the names that you've worked with?
So I used to work on the pro side. So I had I think 6 NFL teams, and my two signature athletes were Travis Kelce and Russell Wilson. So I worked a ton with those two guys for a long time. Uh, but I've worked with Saquon Barkley and Cooper Cup, and on the NFL side, I've worked with the majority
Run that
of the
back,
big
turbo. Run
names.
that back, turbo. Run that back, turbo. Run that back, turbo. Weezy out of here. Weezy out of here. Weezy out of here. Jumped out of a wave right into a daze. It can wreck your life. You gotta think twice. Put it together.
And then I moved over to college.
And what'd you do for those athletes, like Russell Wilson and Travis Kelce?
So it's taking care of everything they need on field. So they get like SMU cleats and gloves. So kind of like those gloves we were talking about for those top college teams. So they get their own. Travis Kelce gets like six models, I think, of a cleat that he gets to wear throughout the year, probably like 10 of each, so a ton of cleats. Russell Wilson's the same thing. So I'll work with them to get everything lined up to be what they want. And then with guys like that, a lot of it is like managing like photo shoots, like whether it's Nike or maybe Russell Wilson's doing an Allstate commercial, and we're sending in some product for that.
But not like a day planner type of
No,
managed shoots. It's
no.
like a
Yeah, so I don't do anything with their day to day. So a guy like Russell Wilson will probably have at least one, if not two, Nike photo shoots a year. So you would go on site to help do that. Uh, but yeah.
Yeah, you said like a managed shoot, and I was thinking like a day to day or like event to event, like time manager or whatever.
Oh yeah, no, it's more of like connecting his people with the producer, getting them an idea of what it's going to look like, and then honestly, a lot of it is just being on site and making sure that the athlete's taken care of. You might get a photographer that says, we'll be here from 12 to 2, and it's my job at 1:50 to tell him like, hey, Russell's leaving in 10 minutes. Like, get what you need, because if not, they usually try and extend it, and the next thing you know, the guy's been there for 4 hours.
Yeah,
and
and
we
then
agreed to 2.
for like athletes, is there ever like a mean athlete or like? Actually, let me rephrase that. What's it like to work with a difficult athlete?
It's tough. It's tough, and I work with difficult athletes, and I work with difficult equipment managers. It's tough because you got to be professional. Getting difficult with them only makes the relationship harder.
I bet.
So you got to put your ego beside.
And what makes them difficult?
I'm not going to call out his name, but there's an NFL receiver that is by far the worst one I've ever had to work with. He just, a lot of these guys, now it's getting even worse, but starting early high school, they're labeled this huge recruit. So everybody starts catering to them then.
The man.
Yeah. And then they get to college. Now these guys are making millions of dollars in college. Then they get to the pros, and it's even bigger. So I think they expect everything. And, usually they get everything. So it's not totally out of line. But yeah, this one guy I'm thinking of now was really hard to deal with. Cussing me out if I couldn't get, whatever the latest thing that he wanted was.
So like new gloves, say there's like a new drop on gloves and you can't.
No. Football equipment, a guy like that would always get the latest and greatest. I'm talking like like specifically this guy when the Off-Whites came out. Remember the Off-Whites?
Oh yeah.
So
wait,
Nike,
like the shoes.
Yeah. So Virgil Abloh, this badass designer, he got with Nike, and they designed. It ended up being more, but originally they designed 10 Off-Whites, and he like would take a Nike Dunk, and he'd like make it a little funky, and all of a sudden it's worth $12,000 or something. But this guy wanted all 10 of them, and honestly, I maybe got him one, but there's I don't have access to everything.
He's not like
And so so stuff like that.
There's unreasonable things.
Yeah, but also from that guy's standpoint too, like I'm Nike, he sees these shoes are Nike, why can't he get them? So I see both sides, but there's a way to go about it and a way not to.
But I mean, it sounds like for him anyway, he's like living in his own reality.
Yeah,
like I guess his reality is your illusion, because what he's living in is he's the man. He's always been the man, and he's gonna be the man. So you should treat him like the man.
Yeah.
And if you can't treat him like the man, he'll find someone else who can.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, there was nobody else to do anything more at Nike, but yeah, this guy was no longer.
How do you get assigned to your athletes? Do you get a pick?
So yeah, it's like a group discussion. The boss makes the final call, but we all. So
Who's
like,
that?
I'm not on that side anymore. I'm on the college side now. But I'd say I think we've got a couple guys signed right now. But yeah, the next year's class of NFL rookies is what they're doing right now.
And you said your boss gets to pick the.
Well, I mean, he makes the final decision.
But you get to like, oh, I see
yeah,
this guy looks cool. Let's go
yeah.
with him.
Yeah, and we've all got relationships with the players out there. So yeah, it's kind of a group thing.
I think it was like the Jordan movie or something, when they were like trying to come up with a pitch to like, because Nike wasn't very big, and they were trying to like come up with a pitch so that they could impress Jordan and get him to sign.
Yeah,
that's like the thing. So you get to like see the joy on them.
Yeah,
when they sign, or you offer them a deal.
A guy like Jordan, even back then, his pitch was in person. With Phil Knight and everybody. Most of ours are. The whole deal is with the agent. So you're never actually talking business with the athlete.
Yeah.
But a bunch of my coworkers just got back from the NFL Combine last week, and they hold meetings with the guys. So, Shador Sanders, for example, even though you're only talking money with his agent, you'll talk to them about how you really want him with the brand, and how you see us using him, and why you think it's the best decision for him.
Who are you and what do you do?
I am Tony Salazar. I'm 42. I work in sports marketing at Nike. I got 4 kids. I'm a husband. My official title is College Sports Marketing Field Rep. So I'm the rep for about 12 schools on the West Coast.
12 schools, what are those?
Yeah, so Oregon, Oregon State, USC, UCLA, Cal Stanford, Colorado, Arizona, Boise State, BYU, Air Force. And Army.
In the Air Force?
Yeah, Air Force and Army.
What's that like specifically for the Air Force?
Air Force, for me personally, is really cool because I went to the Air Force prep school right out of high school. So I went out there, and then I transferred from there to University of Oregon. So last year when I became the rep for Air Force, I got to go back out there a couple times and see my old stomping grounds. So that's what I did.
And then you said after you went to Oregon?
Yeah, I transferred in there in the spring semester.
What was your college experience like at Oregon?
Loved it. Yeah, played football down there. It was the best. I'm a huge Duck fan. I love Eugene. It was awesome. I had a great time down there.
Do you have like stories about it, or anything you could share? Like, obviously you said you enjoyed it, but is there anything?
Yeah, well, I mean, all the good stories I can't really share, but I was on the team when Michigan came to town. Michigan was I think 3rd in the country, and I don't even know if we were ranked. And we beat them at the end, and the fans rushed the field, and that was always like a big memory for me. That was awesome. But yeah, I met a lot of my best friends, a lot of people that are out in the business world now that I have good relationships with from my team there, and there's quite a few of us that are at Nike together too.
You said you meet business people out in the world?
Yeah, or just people that I played with or was friends with, back in our early 20s, and now they're 40s, and they're a lot of them are doing big things in the world.
So like people that go into sports, a lot of times they stay in sports.
Yeah, and so I have a lot of good connections from my time at U of O. It seems like a lot of those people are out, in the business world that I'm bumping into now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
College, okay. And then what happened after college?
So I played football down there, graduated in probably 06, came back home. Originally my plan my whole life was to be a pro athlete. When I was young, it was to be a baseball player. And then as I hit the end of high school and college, it was to be playing the NFL. After maybe my second year at Oregon, I started to get the idea that the NFL was not going to happen for me.
Why do you say that?
I wasn't nearly the athlete that playing receiver at that level. I wasn't nearly athletic enough to get there.
Oh, before that, were you the athlete?
No, but I just I don't know. I had hope that I could turn into it.
Yeah.
And then it was a little bit of a rude awakening when I got, because growing up in Oregon, I was a really good athlete. There was like a Nike football combine. I think I was the second fastest guy at it. So I was feeling really good about myself. But then I got down to Oregon, and I realized that my time in that 40 would have been like 300th at the LA Combine. So it's just like it was eye opening that like
And at the LA Combine, who's competing in that?
all
That's a big jump.
Yeah, so all the top high school kids. But it was just eye opening for me being a big fish in a small pond up here, and then realizing that being the best receiver or one of the best coming out of this state, as opposed to there's probably 100 receivers coming out of a state like California,
like Texas, right?
Yeah,
Texas
California, Texas, and Florida are the three real big ones.
So you don't think Northwest football is it competitive?
Well, it's extremely competitive, but if you look at the Oregon roster, they probably got, of their scholarship guys, they probably got 5 Oregon kids.
Really?
So they recruit nationally. If you only recruited the state of Oregon, and I think Washington could recruit Seattle and still get a little better caliber than Oregon. But if you're a Northwest team, you're definitely recruiting outside your area.
Then what type of? Because obviously, like that level, you said that it was obvious to you, or not maybe not obvious, but you started to notice that it's like a different type of person, not just a player, but a different type of person to actually get to the next level.
Yeah, well, so
like what type of person do you have to be?
So there's some guys that don't have to be that kind of person. Some guys are just so naturally gifted that they can get to the next level.
Like big and strong type of gifted?
Yeah, and athletic, and just making the plays when you need to. But to be really great, it's when a guy has all those skills and then is also one of the hardest workers and one of the toughest guys. And those are the guys that come through, and you realize right away that like this guy's going to go real far. Even if, a lot of those guys, even if say they got a terrible injury and they couldn't go far in that sport, you still know that like they're going to be successful in something. And then there's some guys that are just relying on their natural ability.
But you don't get lazy people up there, do you? At the top level?
You do. You get a lot of people that, you can't be that lazy because football is so hard. But you got a lot of people that kind of go through the motions and just do what the coach asks them, but nothing behind the scenes.
What did you see? Like, what was your experience seeing that? Were you that type of person at Oregon specifically?
No, I was not. They put so much on you that to go above and beyond is pretty tough. But there was guys that did, and a lot of those guys went on to do really big things.
What's above and beyond look like?
Like getting in a bunch of extra workouts. So my roommate down there was Devin Long. He was a real good defensive end. Played in the NFL for a little bit, and we would lift with the team. The team would lift in the mornings, and then he would go. I don't know if it was 24-hour fitness or what, but he would then go back at night and do extra workouts.
Would you go with him?
No. Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, it just wasn't my thing. I wasn't working hard enough, I guess. But yeah, so there's guys like him that would do the 8 or 9 hour workday that we all did with meetings and practices and film, and then he would still put in extra time. So guys like that, you noticed it, and it wasn't a big surprise when they were the most successful ones.
Because Oregon's Nike, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do they try to? Is there any? I guess I'm curious about like their. If the words like I don't know how to put it into words, but they get first pick and they can just grab all the good athletes and bring them into their system.
Yeah,
athletes go to Nike. Like why Nike? Why did you choose Nike? And why do people choose Nike?
Well, I grew up in a family where my dad ran for Nike and then coached at Nike, so I was born in Nike. So it was never an option for me to go elsewhere. But I think Nike has all the top apparel, the top footwear. We have the majority of the top athletes.
At least for here, right? For the U.S. or in the whole world?
I think we beat Adidas in soccer now globally as well. Maybe
Really?
It's probably pretty close. They could probably argue it. But
I don't look at it. I don't know.
But yeah, in the NFL and the NBA, Nike is dominating. And those are the sports that
So back to like you grew up on Nike?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much. What was that like?
It was great. Always had access to an employee store.
But like more because you said your dad was...
He ran for Nike. He was a Nike contracted athlete, professional athlete for a long time. And then he basically did similar to what I did, but he would sign and serve track and field athletes.
He would sign and serve?
Yeah, that signed their pro deals with Nike.
And he was good too?
Mm-hmm.
What was the impact on you that your dad had?
Well, man, you want to talk about people that go above and beyond for hard work. It was seeing that from my earliest memories, seeing like the kind of work that you got to put in to be at the top.
What do you mean?
Just constantly doing whatever you can to get better. instead of just resting on the couch, you can be down stretching. Like there's like no downtime, like always doing something to get better. I would say that was something I grew up seeing, and I'd like to think that I took a little bit from it, but I think a lot of it you either have it or you don't. You hear stories about like Kobe Bryant and stuff, and Jordan. They're just maniacs. Like they're just competitive, and they just want to work all the time, and they're obsessed with winning.
Yeah, like on like some autism level of focus.
Yeah. And honestly, like I think I heard a quote from Kobe saying that like it's impossible to be the best basketball player ever and the best father. Like you gotta you gotta be crazy, and you gotta cut.
There's no balance.
Stuff. Yeah, there's a cool. You should look it up. There's a cool Steve Jobs quote. He was giving like the commencement speech at Stanford, and he talked about how he like all these weird moments in his life that made no sense at the time, and it didn't really seem like it was going to help him out. Like he took like a calligraphy class in college, and he was like, "There's no reason to take it. I didn't know why I was taking it." And then he was like, and then when I got to a certain level, and I look back, like each one of those dots perfectly connected. Like in the calligraphy example was that like he used that knowledge to build it into like the new iPhone, to like different fonts and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of like the Air Force thing. Like,
wait, what do you mean the everything connects?
So like maybe he did like a random job as like a I don't know, a dishwasher, and like some weird insight he got from that job. Now that he's like this CEO of Apple, some weird insight he picked up from there is now paying off in this job. And this random calligraphy class is paying off. Like all these random things that really didn't really seem connected at the time have like, put him in this perfect spot where he's at.
Okay, so then I have a question for you.
Okay.
So I have homework that I'm probably not going to do.
Okay.
So for all those teachers, what's your message to them?
I don't know how that correlates. Homework that you're not going to do, what's the message to the teachers?
Yeah, what would you say?
Well, I guess I would say that they haven't made it seem important enough to you to get it done. They need to either accept that you guys aren't going to do it, or make it.
No, there's no you guys, just me. I'm not
or make it high enough on your priority list to get it done.
So how do they do that?
Well, they're great, I guess. Taking a bad grade on something that weighs heavily into your final grade. But hey, I'm not on that side though. Hey,
all right,
just get through whatever you need to do.
Just asking.
Yeah.
In case you had opinions on it. This one's like interesting, and I can feel myself learning like as I go through.
Yeah.
I guess this whole process.
Well, yeah, and I think that's just why I feel so lucky, because I have a cool job. I have a really cool job, and it's fun to talk about it.
That's important.
Yeah.
Loving your job.
Dude, I have so many friends that hate their job and they get good money, but like every Sunday night is just like the ultimate crushing depression for them. Going to a job that they hate on Monday and they can't get off until Friday. And I feel so blessed that I am not in that camp.
Yeah.
And my advice for anybody listening is you got to find something that you're passionate about and care about. And even if that means taking the job that you're not now and working towards the job you want, yeah, I mean, it's not, I know everybody needs money and that's the key to getting a job, but like I had a good friend a couple of years ago that had a similar job to mine in baseball. And he left to take another job that paid more, but like not life-changingly more. And we all told him like,
just buy a better car type of more.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like buy a better car every year type of more.
Yeah.
And he hated it. It hit him in the face real quick that like that was not the right move. That like there's really something to be said for working a job that you love. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of us that have been at Nike for a long time get spoiled and forget that. And I think it hits you hard if you
forget you're actually working a job, whatever you like enjoy.
Yeah, and another thing about Nike is that the campus is beautiful.
Oh, I know.
It's insane, and like I don't actually love giving tours because it's just
you gave me a tour.
Yeah, that was a fun tour. But I do a ton of tours, and a lot of times I don't want to do them. But what's cool about them is that it reminds you how cool the place is. Mm-hmm. Talking to the person and seeing their eyes light up when they see stuff. So and
just like the buildings are so unique too. Like,
yeah,
I think you brought me inside. What is it? The LeBron building. Yeah. And there's a basketball hoop right as you walk in, and there's little highlighted dots all over the floor.
Yeah, they've
shots that he's made.
Yeah, they tracked his first it was his first like 10 years in the league. All of his makes and misses, and they're all represented by.
And
the
then
Dodgers.
gave him a building.
Yeah,
That's
that's the NSRL, the Nike Sports Research Lab. That's where all like the really high tech product testing stuff.
What does your vision for success look like for your children, and how are you able to help with that?
My vision success for my kids is that they all grow up happy, healthy, functioning adults. You know, they all have dreams. You know, Jagger and Maverick both want to be. You know, Jagger wants to play in the NFL. Maverick wants to be a pro runner. Pepper wants to be on Broadway. But I don't know what Bella's goal is yet. But like, I would love for them all to reach those. But if they could get to a point where, you know, I just want them to be happy and successful and healthy.
Mm-hmm. What's success then? Because a garbage man might be happy.
Exactly. And you know, if they're a garbage man and they're happy and they're doing what they want to be doing, 100% fine with me.
So if Jagger's working at a garbage dump, you'll be all right if he's happy?
Absolutely. If they're happy and doing what they want to be doing and they're surviving on that, then by all means, it's good with me.
And what does success mean to you?
You know, I don't know. I think, you know, success, obviously, I think we think of as like getting like, you know, the job that's paying a lot of money or, you know, buying a big house or big car. But, you know, I know so many people that have those things and are unhappy that like, I still think success is the same thing I just said. I think it's doing what you love and being happy and waking up every day with a goal and working towards it and with a smile on your face. I would rather than be that, a garbage man, than you know, some CEO making $1 million a year and miserable, and you know, they're not around their family or they don't have a family, and you know, whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, my measure of success has nothing to do with jobs or money with them. You know, I hope that they reach all their goals, and I hope that they strive to, you know, to do big things. Mm-hmm. But that's not what I would say.
Then
success
to the
is.
second part of the question, just to spin back, how can you help with that?
Well, I try and be a good role model. You know, I try and show them that, you know, working hard and being a good person can lead to a good life. So, you know, I think I've done a pretty good job of showing them that. And, you know, I'll definitely, you know, my oldest son is in 8th grade now. So they're starting to get to the point where, you know, they probably need a little more like big kid advice from me. So, you know, I hope I'm up to the task and I got some good things to tell them. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think showing them the hard work is needed for success is the first step.
Do you have any advice for me?
No, I think, you know, kind of what we talked about. I think the fact that you're doing your own thing right now, you're reaching out, you're kind of like exploring passions is rare. You know, like when I was your age, I didn't care about school. You know, all I cared about was sports. Any plan that didn't have to do with sports didn't hit my brain. So I think the fact that you're already looking into stuff and, you know, hopefully can find something that you love doing, you know, I think it's really cool. I think it's a cool thing that you're stepping outside and trying something. And yeah, man, I mean, I've known you since, I don't know, 2nd or 3rd grade. And it's really cool to be sitting here with you having like an adult conversation and seeing you on your way to hitting some big goals.
It's got to be weird a little bit.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, sitting on the couch, what was that story with me and you watching the UFC?
Yeah.
And then Ava walked in and I walked out?
Yeah, I remember little young Zander loved UFC. You're always sitting there watching with me. I have nothing but incredible memories from those times when you guys had that great group of kids all living in the same block, and you know, kids were over at the house all day. I miss those days.
We'd be messing stuff up at your house.
It's all right. Hey, those were great days. We loved it. We loved it every second of it. Yeah, I get through my phone, I'll get like the 10 years ago on this date, you know, photo albums, and a lot of them they'll pop up with all you guys mobbing around the house, and you know, I love where we're at now, but I definitely would love to go back and do those days over again too.
Tony Salazar, thank you so much.
Yeah, man, my pleasure.
It's great talking to you.
Yeah.